What is an operating system? Why do we need one? And what types of operating systems are out there in the world today? Well, my friend, I'm glad you asked, because those are the questions we're going to be answering in this nugget. Let's get started. Without an operating system, all of our devices, and by devices I mean computers, laptops, your phone, your gaming consoles, all of those things would be useless. You would just have a pile of hardware sitting there with nothing to do. We need an operating system to give that hardware life and to give us a way to interact with it. It's kind of like an automobile. Take a car, for example. The hardware of a car is everything underneath the hood, the engine and all those components connected to it. But without the interior, the accelerator, the brake, the steering wheel, we have no way of interacting with that hardware. Now, back to computers. Typically, when you think about hardware, you think about everything inside of the computer, right? The guts of a computer. Processors, memory, internal hard drives, everything connected to that motherboard. But it's also things that are outside of the computer connected to it. Peripherals, as we call them. Your mouse, your keyboard, your webcam, your sound system. That is also hardware. And we need an operating system to interface with that hardware. So think of an operating system as the interface between man and machine. Very much like the interior of a car is the interface between the driver and the engine. Now, operating systems communicate with hardware through what are called drivers, which is really just low-level software in the operating system. This is why anytime you install or plug in a new device into your computer, that operating system is going to recognize it and then download and install that driver so we can use it. An operating system also forms that software foundation on top of the hardware. We as users can interact directly with that operating system. In fact, anytime we create a file, we're using the operating system to do that. We can also configure, customize, and personalize the operating system. But an operating system is also required in order for us to install and use applications and other software. We also have many different styles of operating systems that target different kinds of devices. For PCs and computers, we have Microsoft Windows, we have Linux and Mac OS. All of these we'll be taking a look at in future nuggets. We also have operating systems for devices such as gaming consoles, right? For the Xbox and the Nintendo and the PlayStation. They have their own version of an operating system on top of their hardware that's specifically designed to run graphically intensive games. And of course, we also have operating systems for mobile devices, such as iOS and Android. Now, in the land of computers, we also have different types of operating systems. We have client operating systems, otherwise known as workstation or desktop operating systems, and server operating systems. A good majority of operating systems out there today are workstation operating systems because they're used everywhere. We use them in homes, and users within organizations work with them on a daily basis. A good example of a workstation operating system is Windows 10. Server operating systems are what power data centers and provide users and workstations with specific services. Servers are usually dedicated to one role. This is why you'll hear the term file server, or database server, or mail server, or web server. So server operating systems are designed to accept requests and serve responses for whatever services they're providing. And by the way, a good example of a server operating system is Windows Server. And there's very little difference from an interface perspective between Windows 10 and Windows Server. In the CBT Nugget, we defined what an operating system is, the foundation of software on top of hardware, and the interface between man and machine. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.